States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The chair and the vice chair aren't here as yet.
Mr. Brady.
Present.
Mrs. Callahan. Mayor Carbone.
Here.
Mr. Hinman. Mrs. Fona.
Here.
Mr. Kisco.
Here.
Mr. Nargi.
Here.
Mr. Rader.
Here.
Here. Mr. Tebow.
Here. Ready?
Mr. Rob will be joining us late. Mrs. Batchelder. Mrs. Bob. Okay, we have a quorum.
School community session. Public participation. The board invites members of the community to speak on topics to be addressed in the agenda or on other topics of interest. Individuals wishing to make comment are requested to fill out the speaker's sign sheet, including name and address, which must be stated at the beginning of your comment. The board will not allow comments regarding specific staff members or personal grievances. Courtesy is expected in this limited public forum. Participating time will be limited to 3 minutes per person and 10 minutes overall to guarantee efficient operation of the entire meeting. We have Lou Reynolds.
Lou Reynolds, 466 Hayden Hill Road. I'd like to thank you for improving the metrics that school districts are based on, such as graduation rates, testing scores. I would like you to consider next year, though, please consider following the instructions of your CEO and do a zero-based budget. Some places where you can do this would be, rely more on the city side, put some more in their budget. They've been doing it for almost 250 years, such as plowing streets. Consider having the street department plow your parking lots, have Park and Rec take care of your fields, have Public Works maintain the outside of the buildings, have your school resource officers be part of public safety. It doesn't always have to come out of your budget. I would like you to consider replacing the co-chairs of the turf committee. I think almost $3 million project is too large for lay people to be in charge of that money. I'd like to see a public official that's answerable to the powers to be in charge of that money, such as Public Works Director, City Engineer, Facilities Manager, to be chair of that committee. You can see it's been a mess already. I would like you to do a study, if you would consider doing a study for closing e-school, seriously considering that. Thank you.
I'd like to entertain a motion to amend the agenda to add the following items. 4B4, THS band invitation to march in 2015 National Cherry Blossom Parade, Washington, D.C. And 4B5, Kerma Risk Management Achievement Award.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? To entertain a motion to approve the amended agenda.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? Okay, information sharing and discussion items, student representative reports. Have our students here. So we'll move on to
games and
we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
okay. First, I would like to invite Sue Ferguson to come up, please. As you know, Mrs. Ferguson was recognized by CAS, the Connecticut Association of Schools, as an outstanding administrator, elementary administrator this year, and she was one of the finalists for the state. And Sue, as humble as she always is, goes, Cheryl, just that I was nominated was enough. but she was up against some very stiff competition. And when we talked about it today, she said to me on many other days, Cheryl, what it's done, she goes, we're a close-knit faculty and staff at East School, but what this opportunity did for the faculty and staff to work together, come together, and maybe, Sue, you'd like to say it in your own words, but before you do, it says, on behalf of the Connecticut Association of Schools, I would like to congratulate you on being selected as a finalist for the 2014 National Distinguished Principal Award. You were chosen from amongst a group of skilled and successful administrators, thus giving testimony to the breadth of your achievement and the depth of your commitment and the scope of your influence. While you were not selected as this year's winner, we congratulate you on your successes as a school administrator. From all that we gleaned from your application materials and site visit, it is clear that you have been a dynamic and respected leader in your school and community. We thank you for taking the time to engage in this application process. It is time-consuming and effortful process, but one that we hope you found to be professionally rewarding. And for those of you who had the opportunity to be there during the day of the site visit, you just saw what a great impact it had on the whole school. And we are so proud, Sue. So fortunate.
Well, thank you all very much. I feel like the fortunate one, and truly I mean it very sincerely. I was so humbled and so honored to have been nominated by Cheryl and her team. When I got the call that I had been selected as a finalist, I was dumbfounded. I was just like thunderstruck. It was, as they mentioned in the letter, it truly was a very time-consuming and effortful process. But it was well worth the time that we invested. It was a true community-building experience for our school, staff, students, and families. And I said to Cheryl today, you know, I think probably what really stands out for me as what made the greatest impact of the whole process was, you know, we're all so busy. We don't often have the time to stop and take stock of what we do and of what we're most proud. So this really forced us to take a close look at ourselves and go through kind of a self-assessment as a staff, as a school community, and we realized just what wonderful things we're really doing. So it really was. It was a very worthwhile process, and you know, I feel like a better administrator for having gone through it. So thank you very much for the honor. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.
I happen to be one of the people that were interviewed by the committee, and I will say this to Sue, she doesn't know this, but the 3 people that interviewed us said that out of all the schools they had been in, that your school stood out as being so evident of a joy of learning and a joy of teaching throughout the whole building. They said they could feel it as soon as they walked into the building, unlike any other building they had been in that year, this year to do that. So you should feel good about that.
Thank you for sharing that, Paul. That's really important, because I know that you folks are aware that there's been a period of time over the past several years where we haven't had that at these schools. So I really feel like we're finally getting there, you know.
Next, I hope you all enjoyed tonight and had opportunity to see the exhibits and presentation from the teaching convention, from our, losing my mind, from the film screening for the Civic Life Project, for what else is coming up, the the CAG program and what the students created from there. I think, you know, it was just a good exhibit. And then from our last group, I knew I had it sorry, Peace Jam, because I spoke to you about Peace Jam at our last meeting, and how when they were at UConn, they got to sit with the Nobel laureate, and he had been presenting all day, the president of Costa Rica, and in English, and he heard our students speaking Spanish, and so he got to sit down with them, and he thought, I'm so relaxed, I can just speak in my first tongue. So, but there are exhibits here, what they do as a club, as a community. I hope you all picked up the invitation for June 3rd for the screening of the Civic Life, their movies that they created, documentaries that they created this year. But it was just to provide everyone here with an opportunity to see what is going on in our schools, especially on the secondary level, and really how creative and pretty wonderful these kids are. And I think last night, Mr. Kisco, you may want to add to this about the Honor Society recognition last night.
As always, a wonderful ceremony recognizing the students who have academically excelled at the high school level. Good time, what can you say? And a short speech by the presenter and by the superintendent. But a very, it's a very benign ceremony. It's just totally pleasant, nothing wrong with it.
No, and I think the focus of character, yes, they have been given gifts, and that they should share them with the community at large. I think that's a great message.
To see so many students with those credentials.
And there were over 40, if I was counting right last night with the lights in my eyes. So just, because sometimes, as hard as our paper tries, there's just, you can't cover it all the time, or our newspaper and television stations, radio, so, it was here tonight. The other piece I would like to address the two pieces to the agenda, the Torrington High School Band invitation to march in the 2015 National Cherry Blossom Parade in Washington, D.C. This is no simple feat to be invited. I didn't bring it with me tonight. I don't doubt that if you have it, you have to be nominated, and you have to have it go before a committee, and then that committee has to nominate you to the parade committee, and it's a long, drawn-out affair. And I think they only recognize 4 high school bands from across the country. It's a real small number, and Torrington High School's marching band has been invited and will be attending next year. So that's a huge award and recognition for the school district.
May I just add, this is
Please,
their second time doing this. They were invited a few years back as well and participated, so it really is an honor.
So they know, that's one thing Washington can agree on?
Apparently.
When they know good music?
That's right.
They recognize good music? Okay. The other thing is, I want to give kudos to your leadership team from the Board of Education, because, people wonder what we do there all the time. But last Friday, we were able to go and receive the Risk Management Achievement Award as a school district from KERMA for our safety and security plan that we put together. Just their school districts, there were many mandates, many changes this year to what were the requirements for public schools. And we worked with KERMA to get it done, and they recognized for it, and I'm just going to share with you, Torrington Public Schools. KERMA recognizes the Torrington Public Schools for developing a comprehensive school security program for the district schools. In 2013-14, a team consisting of executive leadership, all school principals, local law enforcement, and the fire marshal was established to review each school's specific security strengths and weaknesses for emergency planning purposes. The school security team embraced the enterprise risk management approach by following the 5-step risk management process. The team first identified, then analyzed exposures. Once risk treatments were selected, The team implemented them and established the monitoring measures. Emergency action plans were modified to include best practices and Torrington-specific procedures. Tabletop exercises were also conducted to review specific scenarios and the effectiveness of the response. David, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I don't want to add anything to that. That's all. I'll let you do that. It's fine.
And our final piece is due to the state by July 1st, and I don't know, it's probably about 6 inches thick, just for the main, and then we have to add each individual school's plan after it. And so we'll probably be sending something like this off to the state, but what we have to do is condense it so it's in like a simple flip chart, so every teacher, every administrator, it's right there at their fingertips at every minute. And we can't share anything with you because it is safety and security. Well, just had a good team to work with. And let's see, I know we approved our calendar last month. However, do have to change one item because we do coordinate our school calendar with Oliver Wolcott Technical School because of sharing busing or providing busing. And so we did have the April vacation beginning Good Friday, Friday the 3rd of April, and running through the Monday the 13th. However, the state and Oliver Wolcott came back and theirs begins on the 13th and runs through the 17th. So we had to change that, move our spring vacation break up 1 week, because otherwise we have to provide transportation. It's a pretty good expense when we're not running our buses. Otherwise, everything else remains. Yeah.
Do we know what the transportation cost is?
For transportation costs,
If we didn't change it, it's about $45,000. For 1 week? Yep. Yeah.
So could you repeat that change again? When is the spring vacation?
spring vacation originally was from Friday the
Right.
3rd through Monday the 13th, coming back on. Now it will be from Saturday the 11th through
Got it.
Monday the 20th. We'll be back in school on the 20th.
Is it normal that they come out this late with their calendar?
Yes, all the time. Coming from the state.
Right, it just seems, I'm sure people already have plans based on our other schedules.
And I was dragging, I was late bringing it to the board, waiting for it to come to me, and it did. It came, I don't know, about a week
It
ago.
always comes at the end of April.
Yeah,
The
but
Oliver
no,
Wolcott stuff.
yeah, but no, so we didn't get the change. They didn't send it until after the last board meeting.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we keep going with healthy food? Okay,
Okay, this is a year, an annual renewal. Last year, if you remember, we started our healthy food certification. It's been going very well this year. We received 40 cents for every meal being a participant of healthy food certification. Starting this year, I had gone to every school and PTO, informing them of the new regulations and what they needed to do and what they couldn't do. And between all the PTOs, all the teachers, I think it's been very, very successful this year, getting that from the principals, so it has. And we're asking to be able to do this again.
Everybody have questions on this?
Lunch price increase. This has happened for the past 3 years. The USDA has mandated back in 2011 that school lunch prices have to be greater than the free and reduced price that the federal government gives to us. So every year, they come up with a calculation based on the district's free and reduced population, number of meals served, and they come up with a calculation that we have to be higher than. So, as in years past, the recommendation is to increase school lunches by 10 cents for next school year at all levels.
Any questions? No voice change. That's a catch. Okay. 14-15 budget.
Well, we